Support for Outdoor Nevada comes from Land Rover Las Vegas and Jaguar Land Rover Reno, proud to help introduce a new generation of adventurers to the diverse experiences that our state has to offer. Information at lrlv.com or jlrreno.com.
Nevada, a landscape as diverse as it is epic, where wide open nature and wild adventure call to the curious and the brave alike. Whoa. It's kind of unnerving when you haven't been here
Absolutely,
before.
yeah.
How far down is that?
Just below us is probably a little over 60 feet or right around 60 feet.
It seems higher. I'm digging up Nevada's mining past at the Tonopah Historic Mining Park and spending the night at the mysterious Mizpah Hotel.
Important is that people understand that there can be earthquakes in Las Vegas, and that's what this research is trying to bring awareness to.
Did you know that Nevada is one of the most seismically active states in the U.S.? I get to the bottom of it. What exactly are we going to be making today?
Well, as you can see on our menu board, we are making a meat lasagna today. We're making garlic cheese bread.
And we're putting Italy inside of a Dutch oven. Yeah! What a rush! I'm John Burke. I have a passion for the outdoors. Today we're in the Valley of Fire, and I'm on a mission to show you the one-of-a-kind history, science, nature, and adventure you find when you step outside. This is Outdoor Nevada. Today, we delve deeply into Nevada's past. How deep? How about 1,500 feet down at the Tonopah Historic Mining Park? Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
Great, man. How you doing?
Good. Welcome to the Tonopah Historic Mining Park.
Jeff Martin is set to lead me through the park, a time capsule to the last century.
Jim Butler discovered the area in 1900. The leasers came in and worked the property for the next year, and then 1902 is when it really took off with the large companies coming in.
Until about when?
Until 1948. So it operated from 1902 to 1948 right here on this property.
You got a lot of cool stuff. I'm dying to see it. Can we go take a look?
Absolutely.
Right on. Legend has it that a county attorney named Jim Butler had dreams of being a prospector. One night, his donkey strayed away. What's our first stop on this tour?
So our first stop are going to be 6 veins of silver that are still in the ground that you're able to see. So you kind of get an idea of what Jim Butler found, but only he found out on a much, much larger scale.
Butler followed the donkey as he discovered his surroundings in Tonopah Springs.
You know, he wasn't a prospector, he wasn't a miner. He'd been the county attorney. He owned a ranch out in Monitor Valley. He did speak fluent Shoshone Indian. So, you know, there's a good chance that they were the ones that told him about this weird outcropping of rock that was here in the area. So that was probably the reason why he came through Tonopah on his way to Klondike.
The Tonopah Mining Park spreads over 113 acres, and it's a display of Nevada's rich mining history.
So on this rock face right here, you can see these numbered tags.
Right here.
These numbered tags are indicating veins of silver in the ground here. So this is probably very similar to what Jim was seeing, but only he was seeing it on a much, much larger scale.
Once Butler spotted his donkey, he picked up a rock to throw at it. The rock was deceptively heavy, a clue that something special lay within. Super heavy.
Yeah.
That'd get a donkey's attention, though.
Absolutely. It got Jim's attention.
That heavy rock was the beginning of what later resulted in 5 million tons of ore, or over $1 billion in today's market, all tax-free.
So we're going over what's called the Stope Bridge. The stope is just the vein of silver that was...
Whoa. It's kind of unnerving when you haven't been here
Absolutely,
before.
yeah.
How far down is that?
Just below us is probably a little over 60 feet or right around 60 feet.
It seems higher.
Well, when you look down in, you can see that it actually cuts down in much deeper.
When it came to the actual mining, Butler hired subcontractors or leasers to break down this vein by hand. And he made a deal with them, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He made a deal with them. He told them, look, I'll give you 50 to 100 feet on the vein, and everything that you take out, I'll take 25% of it and you get to keep the rest. which is a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is all man-made?
Yes, this was all cut out by the leasers.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
What kind of tools did they have?
They had pickaxes and hammers, drill steel, or hand drilling steel, and dynamite.
How long did it take to make a big hole like that?
Well, when you think of all the veins that are on the property, and there's about 8 of these large veins on the property, this is what they did in a year's time.
This tunnel was originally forged over 100 years ago. It barrels straight through the rock and leads to a bridge in the middle of the vein.
Okay, this is super cool. Where are we, Jeff?
So, you know, on the bridge, we were above the vein. Here in the tunnel in the cage, we're inside of the vein.
And how did this town and this mine affect the future of mining just down the road?
Tonopah pretty much became like a central hub for all the mining districts in the central Nevada area.
So the guys that were working here, once this stopped being a hot spot, they kind of dispersed to other mines in the area?
Yeah, the leasers probably moved on to the next big boom, you know.
Yeah.
Some of them probably earned enough money to open their own businesses here in town. Of course, the saloons, mining equipment sales, mercantile, you know, general mercantile. Everything needed to be built here.
Life in a booming town revolved around mining. With little carrier options, miners would climb the ladder to work at the hoist house.
And this is kind of where you wanted to work if you were a miner? This would have been one of the better jobs.
Well, yeah, you know, once you worked your way through the ranks and you earned your seniority, as a hoist operator, you literally had men's lives in your hands.
So is it the type of thing where a guy was standing on that platform and he's just looking at you and you just start rolling him down into the ground?
Actually, it was done through a bell system. So whenever they wanted to lower or raise the elevators, they would communicate through bells and a light.
The hoist house operates the elevators, or skips, that go in and out of the shafts carrying men or equipment.
Could this machine and these belts get them all the way to the bottom?
Not all the way to the bottom. This piece of equipment right here is good for about 600 feet. Down below ground, you're gonna have another complete set of hoists for another 600 feet.
So there's another one of these.
Complete down below ground.
Unbelievable, which means basically this had to lower itself down there and then they had to assemble it, and it's still down there.
Yeah, when you think about everything that you see above ground, there's 2 to 3 times more stuff below ground, you know.
And we'll never see it.
Right, you know, when you think about, you know, you look through Tonopah and you see all the city streets, that's nothing compared to the tunnels that are below ground. You know, when you think of the tunneling that they did, anywhere from 200 to 300 miles of tunnels below the area here.
While these tunnels remain hidden, the history of this mine unfolds itself above ground.
If you're ever in this area, you gotta come here. Tonopah, where mining history comes alive.
After a long day in the mine, workers would come to the famous Mizpah Hotel to take a load off. Some of those men may have never left.
Donna, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Welcome to the Mizpah Hotel.
Oh, thank you very
All right.
much. You got quite a place here.
We do. It's a beautiful old hotel.
So when did this hotel come into being? How long has it been?
This side of the hotel was built in 1906. The second section that we walk up into here was built in 1907.
Boy.
Very historic.
Yeah, and just the feeling here is like you've gone back in time.
The Mizpah Hotel manager, Donna Otteson, guides me back in time.
As you're walking through the town, you get the feeling that the hotel really is the centerpiece of the town, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's the heart of this community. You know, Main Street is built around this hotel back in the day, and it continues to be that way.
During the Nevada Silver Rush, the Mizpah Hotel was the state's tallest building. As Tonopah's city center, it provided lodging, bar service, and entertainment for locals.
This particular hotel is famous, though.
It is. It's had a lot of very historical people in the hotel, from Senator Pittman. It was the kind of the hub of the state at that time, you know, with all the politicians. Jack Dempsey was a bouncer here.
But there's one guest that hasn't left.
Yes, there is one guest that has not left.
Who is that?
And that would be the Lady in Red.
The Lady in Red might be Mizpah's most famous guest. Hundreds of people have stayed at the hotel in hopes of seeing her ghost passing through the walls or lighting up slot machines.
So actually, you should go and talk to some of our employees, because
Really?
they have some really good stories.
Somebody told me to go find Tracy in the Jack Dempsey room. Checking it out. Tracy?
Yeah, Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, Tracy McCormick.
Nice to see you. I'm John Burke.
Good. How can I assist you?
Well, I've been talking to some of the people around here, just learning about the lady in red, and they said I got to talk to you.
Well, I do have stories.
Tell me.
When the hotel first opened up, the safe was downstairs, and all the receipts from the gambling and the bar and the payroll for the mine behind us was all kept in these vaults. They decided to encase the entire vault in 18 inches of concrete all the way around, except for the floor. Now, mind you, we're in a mining town.
I see where you're going.
Okay. So these three miners get the bright idea that they're going to dig down, mine themselves up through the floor of the vault, and take all of the money and hit the road. Well, the one miner got greedy and killed the other two miners. So when they came in, all the money was gone, and there was 2 dead miners in the shaft.
I'm on the hunt for more ghost stories, and I'll bet Karen Weathers, the bartender, has a few to share.
Give me your best story about this place.
My best story was when I was going to clock out to go home one night and came out and came to the bottom of the ramp over there by the restrooms and seen a shadow big enough to make me do a 360. Not just seen it, but I felt it. There was nothing there. Absolutely nothing there.
So, as the bartender here, you probably hear stories flying all night long.
All the time.
About what?
Lady in red, people seeing her, feeling them in their room, children playing in the hallways, children playing on the elevators.
I heard there's a lot of energy and action on the 5th floor.
You have heard right.
Thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome. Hope you find a pearl.
Guests claim to have found a single pearl on a pillow or a nightstand. It's time to face the 5th floor and see it for myself.
So did you feel anything when you were in the elevator?
Well, not specifically, but as we get further into the hotel, it really feels different than when I first walked through the doors.
It really does. This is the actual room where she was murdered outside the doorway here. She actually was a working girl in the hotel, according to the story. She was a kept woman, and the significant other went to catch the train out of town, missed the train, and came back and caught her in 502 with another man and murdered her here in the hallway.
Right here.
Right here. There's stories whether she was strangled or knifed to death. We're not quite sure. There isn't a lot of records about that period of time because this hotel was very political. Things happened here that really didn't go outside of these walls, you know, kind of like what you see stays here type of thing. But there's a lot of stories that go with the lady in red, from writing on the mirrors in this room to imprints in the bed after the beds have been made. So this room is probably one of the most talked about rooms in the hotel. But there's also a lot of skeptics, and we have a lot of people that stay in the hotel that don't report any kind of energies or mishaps during the hotel. So let's take a look at the room, 502.
Okay. Here we go. The room.
The room. So this is room 502.
Wow. Now I feel like I've really gone back in time.
So here is your key. This is your room for the evening.
My room.
Your room. You are checked into this room for the night.
The whole night.
The whole night. And I will see you in the morning, and I want to have some good stories.
You
have
do?
a great evening.
Did you know Nevada ranks number 3 in the nation when it comes to earthquakes that can cause damage? Follow me as I go back to school today.
I was very close to the epicenter of the 1994 Northridge earthquake, and that truly is a mind-shattering event. So when I heard that Dr. Wanda Taylor out of UNLV was out here in the Nevada desert with her students looking for active fault lines so close to Las Vegas, I said, oh man, I'm all in on that one.
My teacher is geology professor Wanda Taylor. I'm joining her graduate class as they do some field work.
Hey Wanda, how are you?
Good, hi John.
Nice seeing you.
Nice to see you.
Is this the class?
Yeah, this is my graduate class.
Well, I wish this was my school classroom when I was going to school.
It's awesome.
This class studies the earthquake fault line located in the California Wash Reservoir, first recognized by Chester Longwell in the 1930s.
What we're trying to do is study an active fault. Southern Nevada has several active faults. No one has studied this fault in detail before, although it's been known since the 1930s. So we're trying to get more detailed data and more modern information to look at when it was active and how active it is.
So you're not just out here practicing this stuff. I mean, you're collecting real data that other people don't have.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely new things.
Can you show me what a fault looks like out here?
Sure, we can do that.
All right.
Nevada has thousands of quaternary faults, which are faults that may cause earthquakes.
So here's my question for you. How do you know that this is what we're looking at is an active fault?
There's 2 or 3 reasons. The first reason is that the fault makes an escarpment that's part of the current landscape. So that has to be very young for it not to have been eroded away. And then the other thing is that these materials right here, these sediments, are very young in age. In terms of geology, these things are 4,000, 2,000, 10,000 years old. And I'll show you that the fault cuts them.
These markings on the surface serve as indicators of what is happening down below.
You can observe a kind of linear feature going through here.
What, just this little gash right here?
Yeah, and you'll see that this bed right here, you see this kind of continuous layer.
Yeah.
And then it stops here, and you observe the continuous layer up here.
Right.
So this piece used to be connected, and the fault came through and lowered this here.
By measuring the distance these layers have moved, students like Michael Evans can estimate the strength of the last earthquake along this fault.
By identifying the age of all this and when this action happened, you can tell how active this fault is?
Exactly. So when was the last time this fault moved? How much did it move? And that's going to help us understand when could it move again.
And how strong that would be.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you measure, this distance from here, you can calculate the actual movement along the fault and how much shaking there was.
What's your next step? What do you do here?
So with something like this, what we're doing out here today is we're actually going to set up a log of this. We're going to photograph it and place a grid, and then we are going to make a detailed profile of this and measure that offset, and then we're going to try to calculate how much shaking was from that earthquake.
Does this go deep into the ground, or does it stop right here?
It potentially goes very deep into the ground.
Each year, thousands of earthquakes shake Nevada and Eastern California, but only 10 to 100 are strong enough for us to feel.
So this is Amanda. She's a graduate student at UNLV with us, and what she's doing is she's measuring the orientation of the fault. So she places the notebook in there to take the actual fault surface, and then she uses this geologic compass in order to measure its orientation to north and then the angle at which the fault is going down.
It has the perfect angle of 45 degrees.
Oh, perfect. It's kind of an idealized angle for faults oftentimes. When you see it in a textbook or you see it modeled and taught, these faults are often at very nice, clean 45-degree angles that are geometrically nice to work with. So that is going to help us know at this point it's 45-degree angle, and it's going to make the calculations very nice when we get back to the lab.
On average, earthquakes that represent potential damage happen every 3 years in this region.
He's taking a close look at that right there. What's he doing?
So Richie has a hand lens, and he's looking at the rock to understand where the rock has come from. So if we can understand what the rock is and where it's come from, then we can better understand when it was put here.
Here's what's amazing. I look at this and I see a dirt wall in a wash. Sure. You look at this and you see a whole story that goes back thousands and thousands of years. Definitely. I mean, this thing speaks to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, see, I think the average person at home watching is probably saying, Michael, just give it to me. I live in Las Vegas. Am I at risk for a big earthquake or not?
This research needs to be done to identify that, but if I just had to tell the viewers, what you really need to do is definitely prepare. The risk might not be that great. It could be tomorrow, it could be 100,000 years. We don't understand exactly when it's going to go off again, but what's important is that people understand that there can be earthquakes in Las Vegas, and that's what this research is trying to bring awareness to. People can be more safe, putting together a simple disaster kit in your home with some extra water, blankets, flashlights, will make a big difference if this fault does move.
In case of an earthquake, drop, cover, and hold on. It also helps to have a 3-day supply of water and non-perishable food.
Professor Taylor, I know. You like Wanda, but I have to call you Professor Taylor. I just want to say thank you for letting us come out here and disrupt your class like this.
Well, it's great to have an opportunity to help Nevada, and southern Nevada especially, become aware of earthquakes in the area and that we do have a hazard.
You did that today. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks for coming out.
Today we're getting a taste of some Italian cuisine with a Nevada spin. We're cooking lasagna and garlic bread in a Dutch oven.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Terry, how are you?
Good to see you, John.
Nice seeing you. How's everything?
Very good. How was
Yeah?
your trip? Traveling's going good?
Awesome. You know, I'm kind of okay with being here. This is pretty nice.
It's our beautiful spot here in the mountains.
Boy,
We
no
love it.
kidding.
We're all gonna have a good time.
Well, that's why I'm here, to have a good time.
This recipe also comes with a history lesson.
Tell me more about Dutch ovens.
Okay, Dutch ovens is just a term that refers to this size and style of a pot. They call it Dutch because they think the whole casting of iron originated in the Dutch country in Europe.
Okay.
So then it came into the United States, and it's enjoyed a really long, interesting history, but primarily during the days of the gold rush, the mining booms in the 1800s, and especially with cattle drives and ranches, you would see these Dutch ovens being used out on the range.
In the early 1700s, an Englishman named Abraham Darby traveled to the Netherlands to check out a casting system adopted by the Dutch for their cast iron ovens. Upon returning, he patented a similar process, but the name Dutch oven stuck.
What exactly are we going to be making today?
Well, as you can see on our menu board, we are making a meat lasagna today. We're making garlic cheese bread.
Let's get going.
Okay.
All right.
We get ready to start on the first item on the menu, the lasagna.
Are you ready?
I have washed my hands, Teach.
Woo-hoo! Okay, why don't you get your hands in here?
Okay.
Grease that really, really good. In my opinion, it really helps keep my cast iron seasoned properly.
Huh.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put together a very basic lasagna dish.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
So I have some sauce that I made up yesterday.
Nice.
So why don't you ladle in just a little layer of the sauce first.
To make a sauce like Terry's here, you need to combine 1 pound of cooked Italian sausage, 1 pound of cooked ground beef, and 1 jar of your favorite spaghetti sauce. Add 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 2 garlic cloves, and a large onion. Toss in a splash of burgundy wine, garlic salt, and Italian seasoning. Then, just let it simmer for 30 minutes.
An oven, when you put the lid on it, it really creates a lot of moisture. So it's not anything that you have to worry about boiling these noodles first.
Oh, okay.
You just lay them in there dry. Since you're such an expert sauce spooner, put another layer of sauce on
Round
there.
2, same thing, just
Same thing.
same thing. Okay.
And then we're gonna add some cheese to that.
You're an easy teacher to impress.
We add a couple more layers of noodles, sauce, and, of course, cheese.
Oh,
Now
you're going another layer.
Oh yeah.
What is this, 5 now? What are we on?
I think we're only on 4.
And all we need to top it off is 1 more melty layer of cheese.
So Terry, tell me about how these Dutch ovens actually work and the heat.
So right down here we've got an air space.
Right.
These ovens have legs on them. So we'll put some coals underneath when we get it to cooking over here on our hard surface, and the air will travel around there. And then what we'll do, we'll put this lid on, and if you notice that this lid has a lip on it, okay? So that allows us to put coals on the top.
The lip and the feet are the modifications early Americans made to the original Dutch oven. Paul Revere is known as the inventor of these features.
This is ready. Our coals are about 5 minutes out before they're ready to put on. We want them nicely white on the edges.
Okay.
So they're almost ready. So are you ready to do the next dish?
Yeah, I think I'm on a roll.
So we're gonna make this really nice garlic cheesy bread. We're gonna take a little shortcut with Pillsbury today.
We take this biscuit dough and spread it nice and thin like a pizza crust.
So this stuff is pretty elastic, so you can just kind of pull it around the edges if you need to.
For the paste, we combine garlic, mayo, and basil. Then, we top it off with some Parmesan cheese.
Split it into thirds,
All right.
and then spread it over that dough.
Looks like the Dutch ovens are ready for the coals.
So you don't need that much?
No.
Okay, all right,
So now
okay.
I want you to take that big oven and place it right in the center of those coals.
Okay.
Using the coals, we make a fire ring slightly larger than the oven. This way, the heat will travel up the side and cook our food evenly.
How long will this take?
These will probably only take about 20 to 25 minutes. They're really not that thick.
So for the smaller ones, you've got maybe eight to 10 coals.
Yeah, and it's not just the size of the oven, but it's also what I'm cooking in there
Uh-huh.
doesn't need as much heat. That's a pretty dense, thick thing, so that needs a little bit more heat.
It's time to let the hot coals work their magic while we sit back and relax. Before we know it, the bread is ready.
So this is gonna go really nicely with our lasagna.
I don't know, I got these things. Does anybody want one? I don't know. How about you, Noah? You want one?
Honey, come and get it!
Our star dish is ready to be served. There's nothing better than sharing a delicious meal with a full table of friends and family. Bon appetit.
And the next time you're on a cattle drive or you're on the open plains, or maybe you're just having friends and family over for a nice dinner, try eating like they did in old-time outdoor Nevada. Get yourself a Dutch oven, or 2 or 3. You won't be disappointed, I promise.